That's a Shame is brought to you by the people who support us over at patreon.com/shamecity.
If you have $1,
$2.
$1 to spare, join us again at patreon.com/shamecity. Please.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to another brand new episode of one of your two favourite podcasts. It's That's a Shame. Hello and welcome. I am Declan. Opposite from me is Isaac. We've got one hell of an episode prepared for you, and prepared it has been.
Yeah, for sure.
And one of the great things about this new setup with the two podcasts and the alternating weeks is this content it's just like months in advance sometimes it's prepared.
Sometimes, well, the new problem that I'm discovering, I don't know if you've ever had this, is that I'm now planning so far in advance that I forget what it was that I planned. And then it's almost like you have to re-plan it.
Wow, I've not come across that myself.
But I guess when you plan it again, to replan, that is, the second time's the deepest, as the famous poem says.
Yeah.
And so maybe the stuff that you get on the first kind of excavation is only the surface level. But now that I've planned this one twice, at least, I'm expecting it to be pretty in-depth.
Wow, well that's quite a claim from you, isn't it?
Sure,
because
bloody is.
And I mean, it's got a lot to live up to, because if we think about the last couple of weeks of this show,
It's been
last
strong.
time we had
Strength to
we
strength.
had Ancient Giant Tree Truth.
That was good.
That was thorough, but equally as thorough, perhaps more so before that, was your own deep dive on the old nerd thigh strangulation.
That was visceral.
From very literally, figuratively,
I can't get it out of my head. It makes me sick to remember.
So, what have you brought for us this time?
Part of what keeps this show going is tradition. I'm sure you'll agree.
But that's long been a feature.
We love that kind of stuff. We like to conserve, with a small c, traditions wherever we see them.
That is true.
Perhaps the earliest tradition from TAS, going right back to our roots, is championing new music. We've been doing that for years, right?
Yeah, God. When I think back on all the tracks that we've championed, there's too many to mention even
right
one.
now. Yeah. Because if you mentioned one, you have to mention the rest. It becomes a whole politics thing.
Exactly.
Today we're going to be talking about a brand new piece of music that came out right now.
Sorry, you've just reminded me of when we had the old radio show.
Oh yeah,
and we did our.
This is the pre-TAS days, guys. You don't know about this.
we did an episode. We did an edition where it was just before the election, the 2015 election, and we were winding up our friend, one of our other hosts, who was like very, very up on the impartiality rules we had to follow.
On student radio, the fact you have to follow that is profoundly stupid.
By just like mentioning and advising you to vote for like one party, so that then he would have to list the names of all the others every single time.
That is fun. Something else that's fun is brand new championing music that's good.
Sorry, you were saying about one that's
new music on some of the new tracks.
You were saying that there's a song that's just been released just now.
Eric Patrick Clapton, CBE, born 30th of March 1945. Old. That's old.
Wow,
That's the War, 45. Is an English rock and blues guitarist, singer and songwriter, referred to as one of the most important and influential guitarists of all time.
It's not wrong.
Clapton ranked second in Rolling Stone's list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. That blew my mind.
Who was first?
Probably Hendrix would be my guess. And fourth in Gibson's far more realistic top 50 guitarists of all time, because he's not that great. He was also named number 5 in Time magazine's list of the 10 best electric guitar players, an even more specific category, in 2009.
I like that the way this is listed by, I presume,
this
Wikipedia.
Is wikipedia.com/Eric _ Clapton.
So I like that they started with the best and then have just gotten worse and worse, not like building up.
85th. Now, my relationship with Eric is minimal, to say the least.
Tangential,
I don't think he's got any good songs at all. I think Layla's got a nice bit in it, but it's not the song bit. It's just the that's the good bit, I think. I can't, when I think about Eric Clapton, remember anything good. Here's my only good memory of Eric Clapton. In primary school, they made us do a concert where about 120 year twos, in a really odd and perverse injustice, had to sing Tears in Heaven for an assembly, which is really, I don't know what the context was, but we were all good.
No, it wasn't
It's just a bunch of mournful
Wasn't the
children.
anniversary, was
I don't
it?
think so. I really can't think what Miss Newman was up to that day. She must have run out of... Some of the other songs that we did were sort of more bizarre. Like, that one's weird because it's quite a popular song, but just, like, contextually very wild.
Very strange.
But the stranger songs that we used to sing were one that has been in my head now for over 21 years, which goes, in the beginning there was only raven, tar black feathers on a cold black night, and it's got this dum ba da da ba 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 bum. It's really like dramatic, and I think it might be like a Native American creation myth, and it's all about how the raven beat his wings in the empty air and made the earth appear. And so between that and Eric Clapton, it was a very confusing
That's a
musical
hell of a
overview.
spread, isn't it? Comprehensive.
Eric's put a new song out that came out today, and I thought,
Now, I don't want to jump the gun,
go on.
but see, what I've been hearing from Eric in the last sort of year and a half or
You
so.
follow his career closely.
Not all that much, but you'll remember that I went through a period where I was reading the Light newspaper.
Was he
where they were
featured in it a
shining
lot?
truth on
on Eric Clapton's discography.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
Was that he was oft mentioned as one of the last true bastions of rock and roll, because
Yeah.
he was one of the only ones brave enough to say that COVID was a big lie and the vaccine was bullshit.
For sure.
Because he was looking after the children.
Yeah, and what's more rock and roll than drowning in your own lung fluid?
There's nothing.
It's
when
cool,
you're just
right?
there going, oh, it's like,
The
reminiscent
ventilator
of the best.
struggling to
Yeah.
continue. Yeah, well, Eric Clapton's got a new song out. It's called This Has Gotta Stop. And it's on Surf Dog Records, one of your favourites and mine. And it's a song that one YouTube comment described as, quote, an objectively bad song. Never mind the message, it literally sucks out loud. You might be wondering, Declan, I can see a confusion in your eyes, what he means by this. In the
What was
title
so-
of the song,
Okay.
what could it be that he's referring to that's gotta stop? Do you
Is
think?
it's not vaccinations?
It is vaccinations and...
I don't know, mask wearing?
Yeah, it is mask wearing and vaccinations and anything else.
Is it just the sort of like progression of the loony left?
Probably that, but also climate change.
Oh,
So this is a all-encompassing track.
as
from
in
Eric.
climate change has to stop, or
Yes,
the obsession with
probably
climate
both.
change?
Probably both. He doesn't specify.
He's hedging his bets.
Before we dive into the lyrics, which are numerous, and give you a special listen, because I can tell you've got your ears tingling for Eric's great song.
So excited.
Unfortunately, you guys will have to listen along at home because we can't go being sued. By
We don't want to give
Mr.
him more
Clapton.
money to make more music.
It would be unfortunate. I want to just give you some context for those who are less familiar with Eric's recent work, and by work I don't mean music, importantly. This is Will Lavin for the NME. Don't know if you...
I've heard of them,
New
yeah.
Music Express.
They had a tent at a festival.
They for sure did. Last month, Clapton said he will not perform concerts that require proof of vaccination after the government lift restrictions next month. He said in a statement posted on a Telegram account of some guy, who they don't tell me who he is, quote, following the PM's announcement on Monday, I feel honour bound to make an announcement of my own. I don't know where he's from. I wish to say that I will not perform on any stage where there is a discriminated audience present. Remember that. Unless there is provision made for all people to attend, I reserve the right to cancel the show. In June, Clapton revealed that during the first UK lockdown, he began to consume, quote, alternative data about the pandemic.
He
began to consume alternative data.
consume alternative data.
Something you-
Alternative to what?
Alternative to factual data.
Okay, I see.
He was, and this will surprise you, he was a big fan of the group of academics behind the Great Barrington Declaration.
Wow, he
That
was
is weird,
he?
isn't it? That was such a great moment because there were people that I know who got involved in that, like were sending it around in WhatsApp groups and like earnestly defending it, like, you know, we just need some alternative facts and data.
If you've only got one side, even if they're right, that's
suppose
bad.
that's still wrong.
That's communism.
It's wrong to be,
Isn't it?
It's wrong to be just right.
That's Stalin.
It's fascist.
And we can't have that right here.
It's an autocratic dictatorship of the truth,
Whoa!
if I may.
Are
if
you
I
a
may.
theorist? I didn't.
Sometimes.
You dabble.
I've got a big
You
Telegram group whose calls for focused protection for those at risk, blah, 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 and a return to normal life has been widely criticised by numerous public health bodies, including the WHO. The more I got into that, the more I realised I was distancing myself not only from the government, but from the rest of the public too. Now,
Yeah.
that almost sounds like he tried to do a little joke, but it would surely be the other way around because he was like, social distancing was not stay away from the government.
No.
Don't sneeze on the government. It was stay away from everyone else. Later, Clapton said he had become involved in anti-lockdown communities on apps like Telegram. This is the final nail in the coffin where we both need to download Telegram and start investigating.
No.
Because there's a lot going on there. There's a lot.
I haven't got time. You should have told me at the start of summer.
We're going to get involved in a big way, but before we do, a brief listen to, I guess we can play the very beginning here, just so you can get a feel for the vibe, and then we're going to listen to a little bit, maybe just a verse and a chorus, just to really, because I want you to be vibing.
Thank you.
And I don't want you to not have heard it, because then if my criticism is maybe motivated by kind of woke snowflake agendaism, then you'll be able to call me on that, and that's important to me that we get that. It's vibey.
Wow, you could tell how he got to number 2.
You can hear it, the
Of all
fucking
time.
chops on the guy. So there's this long kind of bluesy shuffle intro, and then he will start singing. But not when you expect. That's what you like
He
about
loves
it.
to pull the old bait and switch on you.
The song in total is over 4 minutes long, which is quite bold. But not because of the scope of it being small, but because the lyrics of it. That's as much as we'll have. Listen along at home. Here are the lyrics. This has got to stop. Enough is enough. I can't take this BS any longer. That's the whole of the chorus. You're going to hear it a good 20 times.
Okay, good.
I won't be reading every time. I'll just say
Chorus.
It's gone far enough. Now, you used to be an English teacher, right?
Yeah.
So if you see anything that you want to analyse while we go, feel free to just
Thank
jump
you.
in with your analysis. It's gone far enough.
It's nice to start playing, what we would in a script call like the pronoun game, right? Where he's just saying like it without telling us what it is. It opens up the scope, and you're like, it draws you in.
You're like, Eric, what's gone far enough?
As students would say, it makes the reader want to read on.
Yes.
It makes the listener want to listen.
Makes them excited to
find
students
out.
like to say.
Yes.
They love to think that you get very excited reading a
Yeah.
book, don't
Oh,
they?
fucking hell. Sit here hooting and hollering to myself,
Yes.
rolling around
Go off,
on the
book.
tube.
If you want to claim my soul, you'll have to come and break down this door.
That
I
doesn't
knew that
rhyme.
something was-
Is that a rhyme in the song?
No. Oh, actually, yes, it is. It's
Cool,
setting up
yeah.
a good rhyme.
Oh, interesting.
I knew that something was going on wrong when you started laying down the law. So another interesting pronoun is like the you. Like,
So this is an anarchist song.
pretty much.
It's
quite
anti-law.
It's anti-law. It's anti like mainstream data.
Anti-rule. Yeah. Well, you don't want to go to the
I can't
mainstream
move my
media.
hands. I break out in sweat. I want to cry. I can't take it anymore. This has got to stop. Enough is enough. I can't take this BS any longer.
Now, sorry, if you could just go back to an earlier part there where you said something about not being able to use hands.
I can't move my hands.
Why is...
Well, what happened was I looked into this because I was as curious as you are, because it's a lyric that inspires interest.
wait. Isn't this... Did he claim this is what the vaccine did
He
to
claimed
him?
that the vaccine made his hands immobile
And then he played the guitar.
to prove that that he wasn't going to let him take him.
Right.
Not
nice.
this easy, not this time.
Okay. What has he ever explained, for how long?
I think he said it was 12 weeks that he was immobile of the hand.
Wow.
I've only read a couple of articles, but it's 12 weeks was mentioned.
That's...
And
That's
he had other
rough.
symptoms as well. There's one.
How did he manage to tell anyone?
Well,
He must have been like, he'd be like, oh, I'll write a note.
Yeah,
Fuck.
that would
I'll
be
send
bad.
No.
he said I don't remember if I included this, but he said at some point that his feet and hands became numb, burning, and freezing.
Wow.
And just all at once.
Interesting.
It's quite cool.
They felt so much that I couldn't feel them.
I've been around long time, seen it all, and I'm used to being free. I know who I am. Try to do what's right. So lock me up and throw away the key. This has got to stop.
I don't understand what
Enough
he's saying.
is enough.
So, sorry, is he
I
saying
can't take this BS any longer.
he's had enough of his freedom?
It does. Yes, it does sound like that.
Because earlier it was saying like he's had enough of laws.
He's been
but now
around.
he's saying lock me up and throw away the key.
Yeah, but I think
Was that-
I think that's a challenge. He's like throwing down the gauntlet to the government.
or maybe it's like sarcasm. Maybe it's irony.
Maybe he thinks the mask is locking his mouth up.
Maybe he hasn't got a fucking clue what he's on about.
That also is a possibility. He's got a boomer brain. It's gone far enough. If you want to claim my soul, you'll have to come and break down this door. Now, he said that before.
He has
One
said that
thing
before.
that a cynic might say about this song is that it's full of recycled lyrics and that he
Well, hang on
actually
a
didn't
minute.
really write many.
But hang on a minute. If it recycled lyrics, climate change has got to
fuck.
stop.
Okay.
He's reduced
showing this
reusing
is how you can do
recycling
it
with his own material.
With his own art.
That works.
Thinking of my kids, what's left for them, and
Not of them.
crucially, and then what's coming down the road. This is a mixed metaphor. Then what's coming down the road? The light in the tunnel could be the southbound train. Lord, please help them with their load. Makes it sound like they're
driving down the. He's driving along the train tracks.
along a route.
Yeah.
Really bold. That does mean nothing, doesn't it? So he's thinking of his kids and what's left for them. Presumably now saying like, well, the world's like all of our freedoms are gone.
Yeah.
What's left of them and what's cut? Like not just what's left now, but what else is coming down the road? It's a train.
It's gonna.
It could be the southbound train. Now, what does that mean? Because that's a specific train. Like
Possibly something about he doesn't like the global south.
I thought that as well. I also thought maybe like going south. Like if you go south far enough, you'll be in hell.
Okay, yeah.
it could be
to
like
say
the
like
devil.
going south, like his condition
Things have gone south.
Have gone south. Like then it could just mean bad. This is the thing about him. He's managed to keep it so under wraps. Which is, if you're doing a sort of protest song, you don't want your message to be clear.
You want people to be more confused than they are.
You want the reader
side.
to think about things.
I guess so. Yeah.
And it will make the reader think on.
He appeals to God as well in this line when he screams. Well, he doesn't scream it so much as he just sort of mumbles it into the microphone because the man can't sing.
No.
Lord, please help them with their load. Oh, come on, Lord, please.
Is he a God-fearing man?
This has got to stop. Enough is enough. I can't take this BS any longer. If you want to claim my soul, you have to come and break down this door. He repeats the chorus.
Whose door is this that we...
This door.
Literally his door, or...
No, this door. So it's whichever, I guess, whichever
this door.
Well, for us, it's this door, yeah. But for him, it's a different this.
It's a different
That's
door.
the malleability of
It can apply. It's a universal...
He repeats now the chorus again, and then his like post-chorus, it's gone far enough, you want to claim my soul, come and break down the door. And then the outro, this door, this door, this door, break down this door. This door, this door, this door, break down this door. And that's the end of the song. On the page, it's quite long, and in the ear, like I said, over 4 minutes.
Yeah.
For me, the message, I think he's gone for kind of the Lurpak approach of like spread it thinly over the bread of the listener's mind and consciousness, and hope for the best.
Hope it'll just filter through like a sort of subliminal.
And it
doesn't say anything sort of acrostically down, does it?
No.
It's like take off your mask.
It's a lovely idea, but it doesn't. One of the unfortunate things about Eric's career is that, yes, he's the greatest guitarist of all time, the second greatest guitarist of all time. But these days, it seems like the critics have turned on him. And I think we can agree that it's not because he's lost that certain guitar flair that you heard in that
twinkle in the guitaring eye.
Yeah. It's just because of the woke agenda that the mainstream media is saying, well, he's bad, actually. David Brown from Rolling Stone. In what appears to be his latest salvo against COVID-19 vaccinations and the lockdown, Eric Clapton has surprise released a new single, This Has Got to Stop, with an accompanying animated video that also addresses climate change disaster. Not mentioned in the song, of course.
No, not even slightly.
It's got a big vibe of like the person who was in charge of the lyric video wanted to kind of dial it back a bit. It's like, well, if we say that it's just like a general rallying cry.
Yeah, I can't be involved in this if it's just about masks.
The video includes images of people, you'll like this, see if you can, there's some subtext, turned into marionettes, which is a type of puppet, or staring zombie style at their phones.
Wait, a type of puppet?
Yeah.
Like they're being...
Yes, exactly. And what did you hear the bit about?
It's an anti-Semitic song.
Zombie phones? Did you
zombified phone people? Yeah. So like phones. Well, phones are bad. That's something
true.
that we know. So he's probably just getting that message out there to a generation that are addicted to them.
Yeah,
and I don't mean us. I do mean boomers.
Oh, okay. Politicians or government officials addressing crowds, and others holding signs that say "Liberty!" and "Enough is enough!" It also includes an illustration of Jam for Freedom, an anti-lockdown UK street performer group that Clapton supports, as well as imagery of a world on fire from environmental disaster.
See, now it's interesting that the world on fire from environmental disaster, very broad kind of global concern. What was it? Jam for Freedom?
Yeah, are you familiar with...
In fact, devastatingly niche and unimportant driven.
Yeah, maybe we'll look into them.
No, well, you can if you want.
Maybe both of us will join.
You should just have a little look, and you should go to one of their gigs.
Tobias-
You don't have to wear a mask. It's fine.
Tobias Carroll for Inside Hook also picked up on this theme, saying just what this has to do with climate change is unclear. Perhaps Clapton is just lumping everything he hates into one song, like an anti-lockdown themed version of We Didn't Start the Fire. Or maybe there isn't much rhyme or reason to this, and we're left with the familiar story of a once respected artist shedding public goodwill faster than the eye can see.
I like the idea that at its most generous reading, it's a list.
Yeah.
but actually, it's not even that.
It's not even that. Now, Eric, like I said, he existed largely in my mind as the man who wrote Layla, and a man who I just had heard bad things about, but honestly doesn't otherwise filter into my day-to-day life at all.
He was, yeah.
So I looked him up, and his previous is well established, but for some reason not, in my view, talked about enough. And it's one of those sets of previous that should be mentioned every single time you ever mention Eric Clapton, just to clarify that the guy is a racist cunt, should not be listened to. On the 5th of August 1976, Clapton provoked an uproar and lingering controversy when he spoke out against increasing immigration during a concert in Birmingham. Visibly intoxicated on stage, he voiced his strong support for the controversial right-wing British politician Enoch Powell, addressing the audience as follows. I won't be saying all of these words because they are...
No?
He was kind of a proto-gamer, Eric. He managed to have epic gamer moments before they were even conceived
while the
of.
console itself was still in
merely
its
Pong.
fledgling state.
Imagine playing Pong and getting so angry that you scream
To the
slurs.
N-word.
That was Eric's vibe. Do we have any foreigners in the audience tonight? If so, please put up your hands. So where are you? Well, wherever you all are, assuming that they probably didn't. I think
The thing that immigrants that you've got to give them credit for is they've developed a sense of when
Yeah,
maybe they
about
might
to
not
be
be
racially abused.
might not be in the safest of company.
hand shot. Oh,
Yeah,
no, hold that one down.
hang on.
Wherever you all are, I think you should all just leave. Not just leave the hall. Leave our country. I don't want you here in the room or in my country. Listen to me, man. I think we should vote for Enoch Powell. Enoch's our man.
Well, I like voiced support in a literal.
Well, yeah, like just as clearly as possible. I think Enoch's right. I think we should send them all back. Stop Britain from becoming a black colony. Get the foreigners out. Get the beep out. Get the beep out. Keep Britain. Those were different
Oh
beeps.
no, two different
Keep Britain
beeps.
white. I used to be into dope. Now I'm into racism. It's much heavier, man.
What?
Fucking Saudis taking over London. Bastard beeps. Britain's becoming overcrowded and Enoch will stop it and send them all back. The black beeps and Arabs and fucking Jamaicans don't belong here. We don't want them here. This is England.
What? Hang on. I can't imagine. You know, you can see like where a lot of racist rhetoric from their own like warped, twisted and bigoted mindset, and then if they're reading and if you're listening to Enoch Powell,
Or
you
indeed
can-
any sort of British
or-
media
yeah,
at all.
any British media
Then you
then or
probably
now,
do hate
then you
immigrants.
can see. But what I don't understand is how you've managed to reach a point there where you are now specifically calling out the Jamaicans.
Yeah.
Like for what? For what?
Well, he doesn't
Eric?
specify weirdly.
Oh, okay, that's strange.
We need to make clear to them they are not welcome. And I think he's done that, if nothing else. Especially after having tried to sort of
We
find people in
can't
his
just
own
do
crowd.
subtle stuff like my speech here tonight.
I think it's not a stretch to say that Eric was here kind of encouraging a public lynching. Because if anyone had said, like, put their hands up before realising,
they'd be
if he
dead.
thought that they were going to be like, yeah, welcome, like, I'm glad you're here at my concert. Well, no, they'd have been beaten to death. England is for white people,
but
man.
like, which of us hasn't like
Accidentally
started
incited a race
lynching,
war
Like,
at
yeah,
a gig.
At a gig, like, come on.
This is Great Britain, a white country. What is happening to us? For fuck's sake. Throw them out. Keep Britain white. Now, Keep Britain White was the National Front slogan
It
at
was
the time.
indeed, yeah.
And it happened, I didn't know this at all. Like, I knew, like I say, vaguely about him being a racist, horrible man. But I didn't know that Rock Against Racism, which in our generation is only really referenced in, like, old media, was as a result of this. Like, it was in direct response to Eric Clapton and a few other people just being super racist. And the people who started it, one of them's like a famous photographer, a lot of them are from a theatre group called Cartoon Clowns, and they wrote this open letter to NME expressing their opposition to Clapton's remarks. And there's such a funny line in it. They claimed that these were all the more disgusting because he had a hit with a cover of Bob Marley's I Shot the Sheriff, which I didn't know. Why Eric Clapton's covering that? It must be fucking trash.
God.
They said, come on, Eric, own up. Half your music is black. Who shot the sheriff, Eric? It sure as hell wasn't you. It's such a joke.
Oh, that's very good.
Now, Eric, to give him credit here, he's walked some of this back, not all of it, and I think we can see that it's his sort of innate bigotry and prejudice has come to rear its head in other ways.
It's come to like a sort of parasite, having been forced to walk back from what it was once living off, has sort of like leached onto something else.
Yeah. Oh, although, I mean, it probably also, rather than like moving, it probably just is a new one.
Grew. Yeah, no.
It's just a
He hasn't
different pattern.
actually,
Yeah.
he doesn't think any differently.
In an interview with Sounds magazine, Clapton said that he, quote, did not know much about politics, and said of his immigration speech, which is a funny way of referring to it, that, quote, I just don't know what came over me that night. It must have been something that happened in the day.
I ate some bad fish, and I met up and read through a National Front manifesto, and I listened to Rivers of Blood, and then I just had a couple of drinks. You know how it goes.
This is like exactly the same as that Liam Neeson thing, where he was like, something happened, and then I became so racist that I wanted to. Didn't he say 4 years?
So
attack a black person
it was that someone close to him was assaulted by seemingly a black person.
Yeah, although I don't even remember him specifying that.
And then he just revealed in an interview, just sort of straight up said that he would stalk the streets of Belfast,
just hoping
to come across a black man he could beat up. Which it is in its own way funny that it, like, the city itself was such that he never got the chance.
Just Liam Neeson going home fuming
every night.
Now, as much as he's walked it back there, later on, as recently as 2004, and 2007 actually, he's sort of flip-flopped a little when I've interviewed on Cuck, he referred to Powell as, quote, outrageously brave.
Wow. Brave in what possible sense?
You've got to be very brave to be racist. That's true.
Because Powell was brave.
Society would never let racists.
He went
advance.
against the woke mob.
The
wokerati.
He also told an interviewer for Scotland on Sunday, quote, there's no way I could be a racist. It would make no sense.
Oh.
Just an appeal to sort of illogical nonsense.
Why wouldn't that make sense, Eric?
He doesn't.
Does he not expound?
No.
Where it's supposed to be so clear as day, you're a fool for not realising.
In 2007, he claimed to be, quote, oblivious to it all, referring to racism as a concept.
Probably to races.
And later that same year with Melvin Bragg on the South Bank show, he said he was not a racist, but did believe Powell's comments were relevant.
Were relevant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably to racists.
Probably to racists like me. To people like me who think and believe all the things he said, those were very relevant comments.
Now, it's clearly established that he should be, like, I think we want to cancel Eric Clapton. Like, I don't know if we have the clout to do that personally. But that's a big like target for TAS 2021. Mm-hmm. Just to kind of add a sort of side dish to his country, he's also one of the most prominent supporters of the Countryside Alliance in the country.
Of course.
And for those who don't know, they are the group of largely toffs, like overprivileged people who, use the claim that you're being classist because they're farmers, but they're the kind of farmer who owns like 4,000 acres of land and it's called something like Lord Smothington Nonce, and like got handed it all by their granddad who stole it.
You're the sort of farmer who's a lord.
Yeah, that's the lord farmer, and who spends every waking hour
who weirdly
trying
doesn't
to
do an
slaughter
awful
foxes.
lot of actual farming, just happens to own several farms.
They are pro blood sports is their only thing, and
it's a hell of a platform to have.
It is
to be your only thing. Like, I could imagine you like a bigger group trying to slip it in on the side. Like, I could imagine, for instance, like a group like the BNP or something saying like, oh, and also we support this.
They do that, right, with like halal food and stuff as like a dog whistle as well.
But to just be like, we actually, our only thing is...
let us tear foxes apart.
Yeah.
and jack off about it.
No, but it's more humane than shooting them. That's,
It is, and also
that's what they
it's
say.
tradition,
isn't it?
and it like you can't argue with
Well,
that.
we're
as we
doing
said,
tradition
as we
here and
said.
now, aren't we? So we would be hypocrites.
Eric Clapton has played concerts to raise money for the Countryside Alliance, which is
They don't
just
need
wild.
money. They have
They're
all the money.
incredibly rich.
They are the people with the money.
He opposed the fox hunting ban in 2004, and a spokesperson for Eric said, Eric supports
Why?
the alliance.
Why does he do this?
He does not hunt himself, but he does enjoy rural pursuits.
Why? What? Dogging.
And then we cannot claim that.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, he's asking an open
That was an
question.
upward inflection. But like, why does he support this?
He disagrees with the
There's-
state's interference with private pursuits.
Unless those pursuits are being a brown person
Yeah,
living in
Being a person
Britain.
of colour. of any
Unless
form.
you are pursuing a better life.
I wonder how he would feel about if a black person wanted to hunt with Eric. Like, would that cancel out? What's his...
If someone wanted to sneak into this country just to
Just
hunt
to tear
foxes,
foxes apart.
he would implode. Clapton would just have a big aneurysm and die.
This also passed me by as well, because one of the other sort of has-beens who's resurfaced during the pandemic and had people very amusingly, like, this is my favourite dimension. It's really the only way you can enjoy the dimension, other than the fact that all their art is shit, of these people resurfacing, is that it means that idiots have to pretend that the stuff they're making is good, and they have to like really come
Yeah,
out
yeah.
to bat for like, actually that song wasn't derivative and it didn't just have the one blues chord over and over again while he rants
This door,
about
this
this
door,
door
this
and this
door,
fucking
this door.
soul. Van Morrison earlier this year,
He's been
last
up.
year in fact, had piped up, and they did a song together, an anti-mask, anti-lockdown single called Stand and Deliver. I've not heard this one, but I need to listen to it because it ends with
Sure, hopefully Adam Ant fucking sued them into the
Hopefully so.
ground. Hopefully the highwayman came back.
Wikipedia phrases it so funnily. The song ends with the observation that notorious highway robber, quote, Dick Turpin wore a mask too, which appears to then be if you're wearing a
Criminals
mask,
wear
you're going to be a
masks.
highwayman. And includes the couplet, you let them put the fear in you, but none of it was true. It's food for thought. I think we can agree. And don't forget that Dick Turpin
And don't forget that
wore a
Dick
big mask
Turpin,
too.
he wore a big mask too, yeah. Wow, it makes you think, doesn't it? It makes you think, what the fuck
What the
is
fuck's
going on
going
with
on,
all
Van
these
Morrison
objects?
and
Why
Eric
is it
Clapton?
only the ones... I don't know if there's maybe a theory that you've got behind this. Why is it only the ones who were cunts and not all that amazing who have come out and do
know.
this? Like Ian Brown, he was back with some...
Was he?
Yeah, he's big on the old anti-vaccine, anti-mask front, and it's just like...
It's unfortunate to hear.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to do before we
okay.
finish up is to let the people speak, because Eric Clapton is positioning himself very much as the voice of the common man.
Well,
And-
you don't become a sort of like fundraiser for the Countryside Alliance
Unless
without
you
being a
hold
friend of the common man.
interest,
Yeah.
at heart. All that I've done so far in my classic kind of ivory tower gatekeeping liberal elite way is to venerate the critics. I've been quoting from like NME, Rolling Stone, all of these
Wow.
mainstream
The
outlets.
establishment, if you will.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So I went to Twitter and YouTube to see what the fans have got to say, and it paints a pretty different picture. Diane Sabella, 19 hours ago, love the song. I've had enough last year. Just trying to push their communist agenda, aren't they, Eric? That was not on Eric's channel, so I don't think
No,
he'll
I,
reply.
no,
the thought
I don't think
still
he
counts.
replies even on his channel.
Michael Say,
What did she specify at all? I'm just really interested when people
on.
say this. What?
you're not offended, are you? Did that trigger you?
No.
You can be honest if it
No.
triggers you,
I'm not. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not a fucking snowflake, mate. No, I was just wondering if she specified what was communist about the agenda.
It's because of the masks. Karl
Dick
Mask.
Turpin was a communist.
Pretty much. Some of the video doesn't have lyrics. Some of the graphics have nothing to do with the song. The loop of Clapton hitting a power chord at the beginning is off-putting. I feel like this was made by my awkward, drooling co-worker who only wears 2 shirts. And James Bush replied,
At once.
fuck off, a masterpiece for the times we live in. So
Wow.
I guess the jury's
That's
out.
the duality of man right there. That is.
Could be the dumbest, quickest song ever put together, says Michael Say. On Twitter, Jake replied to Eric Clapton, Mr. Clapton, I work with the CDC. Just looking for your approval on this quote we've been using on social media for over a year. We gave it to your team and they did sign it off. Should we stop using it? I wrote the copy and was pretty proud of it. And it's a picture of Eric Clapton with like an Instagram imposed quote. As soon as I'm done playing my guitar, I'm going to put on my mask. Eric Clapton is a very nice piece of graphics.
funny.
Someone also pointed out that in the video, the visuals have like protest, and there's someone that has a sign that says stop, and there's someone that has a sign that says liberty, but they're right next to each other, which is powerful. I don't agree with Clapton's views at all, but I have to admit, this song is dreadful. Awful track, but killer title. This has got to stop was exactly what I said while listening to it. You've invented a new genre, says Mike. Conspiracy-themed customer service hold music. And Huang asks a question that we were throwing around in a slightly different style. Hi, I'm unvaccinated, but I'm also Pakistani. Am I allowed in your concerts, or does one cancel out the other? Dee, referring to the only other fact anyone needs to know about Eric Clapton, which is that he stole George Harrison's wife, who was his best friend, said, I bet if the vaccine was your best friend's wife, you'd take it.
That's very funny.
And lastly, just to finish up, Danny Chun said, I'm so sorry, Eric, but I don't think this is good. I don't like the melody, and the lyrics are terrible. Additionally, you come across very, very poorly on a personal level. Hope this helps.
Are comprehensively but you see, this is where we see, isn't it? Like Twitter, that's just a home for the woke left.
Yeah, and it's brave for him to be on there, to be honest.
He's a warrior. He's a modern day warrior.
Free speech warrior.
YouTube, where, you know, the land of the brave and the home of the free.
UsTube, I call it.
That's where the real people are, and that's where there's at least two people who think that this is a good
Those were the
song.
only two. I went on the Eric Clapton subreddit, and they were all posting memes about how like this song is bad and it's not worth defending. There'd be like one comment heavily downvoted that was like, are you kidding? Crying laugh emoji. Better than all the shit, better than Billie Eilish.
Is there much stake in being a kind of everyday Eric Clapton fan anymore? Like the Eric Clapton subreddit, when he's not releasing this song, what are they doing?
They're just relitigating the old classics. They listen to that one guitar solo from Layla and agree it's the only good thing. I've leaked them footage of my primary school singing Tears from Heaven. It's kept them going for 6 months. It's really all they've got to look forward to.
I do think this when I find like communities like this based on people who just like, not even people who are dead. You know, Clapton obviously
but people
dead,
who may as
dead
well
to
be.
decency. Yeah. But like, is what are you doing? Like, what are you all sharing other than like
remember that song?
It's very, not to sort of like blend into a plug, but it feels very Ernest Klein of just like, we just sort of sit here and go, wow, this is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then people go, yeah,
I remember
and
this.
That's
all we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
Go on.
Again, I hate to put my tinfoil hat on here, mainly because it means
Eric doesn't.
I have to keep buying more tinfoil. But it's very close, that sort of mentality, to the I remember the Milkman sort of vibe.
I remember when it was Britain for British only.
Yeah, I remember when your dad would hit you and you would say thank you.
Yeah.
And I remember
salute him and
I
the
remember
Queen.
when it was all white.
Yeah, that's what they... Nostalgia is very bad. It makes me glad every day that I don't like the past. As soon as the day is over, like, just don't ever think about it again. There's nothing good to be gained from anything that happened previous.
Isaac lives his life like Guy Pearce in Memento.
It's good. I don't even bother with the tattoos. I'm not interested.
I don't want to know.
But yeah, there we go. I just wanted to put a little PSA out that if you've got any Eric Clapton in your playlists, probably best to delete. Just have a re-listen, and I think you'll find it's probably not that good. And I will say that with the authority of
have a little look and see.
Having listened to 2 Eric Clapton songs.
I think in the spirit of Clapton himself, you know, probably just Google and see someone else who's done that song, and then listen to theirs instead.
That's
and
true.
It will probably be better.
Yeah, I think so. Let's do a couple of plugs, and then let's leave these beautiful listeners behind, chomping at the bit for next week's Big Bad Books.
Well, Big Bad Books, were you leading in for that to be the first?
Yeah.
Because I did the ready. Yeah.
I hope
no,
you
that's
picked
good.
up on
Yeah, I did. So, Big Bad Books is the podcast that we do in alternate weekends to this, isn't it? And it's, well, Dear Isaac, he, like the brave soldier he is, the Eric Clapton of the book world is what we call him.
True?
He has pushed bravely and kind of like almost chivalrously, like a knight of yore, into Ernest Cline's Ready Player 2, and he's reading it for us.
Yeah.
And then he's reporting back, and we're talking about all the ways in which it's just so bad. It's big.
It is big.
It is a book.
Certainly.
And it is bad.
It ticks,
so
all,
ticks all three
boxes,
criteria.
Yeah, which is good.
So come along and have a little listen. There'll be another one next week. If you've not listened so far, there's like 4 or 5 of them for you to go back and listen to
'em out.
to catch up, because you wouldn't want to miss out on all of the very good plot that's already happened and come back in.
You
and
wouldn't
like,
understand if you don't know the 7 Shards of the Siren Soul riddle by now.
don't even talk to us.
Fuck
Don't even
off.
at us.
That's shame.city/books. Or you can just go on shame.city and it'll be there. Or you can just fucking search Big Bad Books anywhere.
Anywhere, and it will
Anywhere
come
there's a
straight
podcast.
to us.
What else we got going on?
We're streaming quite a bit.
We
aren't
are pro
Over-
streamers.
over at twitch.tv/shamecity.
Yeah.
Now with just the one Y on the end.
Powerful.
Or shame.city/twitch. We're there Monday to Thursday.
Yep.
But then also sometimes we do like other things. I was thinking I might do a late night stream.
Ooh.
I know. Imagine that.
Freaky.
It is freaky.
Will it get quite funky and nasty? on
Well, I did one on a Saturday yesterday, and there was a ghost who closed my
closed
game.
your game.
So maybe if I do it any later, there'll be visible spectres.
That would be good.
Join the Discord, shame.city/Discord. There's lots of conversation
Yeah, you'd love
going on in there. There's all sorts of very good people. It's a lovely little community that we put
It's
together
beautiful.
over there.
Wholesome.
And Twitter, of course. You can find us. Where can you
Shame
find us?
City Gang is the big one. You can follow this shirt. That's a Shamecast. And that's about all you need to know.
Or at Big Bad Books for Big Bad Books.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks
it.
for listening, everyone. Until the next time we do one of these That's a Shames, I've been Isaac. You've been
I've been Declan.
Masks On.
Hey!
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.